From Kanye telling Beyoncé she won Award of the Year, to Brad Pitt being told he abused his kids, these are the most famous feuds in Hollywood history. We've all heard about notorious feuds between stars that have kept us talking for years, whether it's Taylor Swift versus Kanye West or Britney Spears versus her literal family. Let's get into the biggest feuds in Hollywood history, starting off with the most controversial diva of all time, Marilyn Monroe versus Laurence Olivier. It is no secret that Laurence wasn't exactly the most loved Hollywood personality. While he was definitely an amazing actor, some of his co-stars had less than kind things to say about him. Sir Alec Guinness described him as unpleasant and vindictive, while Orson Welles straight up said he was seriously stupid. Yikes. Although it seemed like Olivier didn't get along with anyone he worked with, the worst was probably Marilyn Monroe. It's pretty shocking since she's literally known for being the nicest celeb ever. The two first worked together on The Prince and The Showgirl, an experience that neither of them seemed to enjoy. Considering the two of them were probably the biggest stars in Hollywood, everyone was expecting this to be the biggest movie ever. But things didn't go as expected. Monroe was reportedly so nervous on set that she kept her distance from other cast members. Olivia, on the other hand, wasn't a big fan of her method acting, or the fact that she had Paulo with her every step of the way. Olivia and Monroe weren't the only stars from this time that despised each other. The same could be said for these two actresses you did not see coming. Betty White versus Bea Arthur. The Golden Girls was one of the biggest shows of the 80s and basically female friendship goals for many people. The main cast members, Dorothy, Blanche, Rose, and Sophia, had insane chemistry. But the thing is that their friendship only existed on screen. Offset, Betty White and Bea Arthur didn't get along too well. They had very different personalities, including the way they acted and what they ate. Apparently, they refused to talk to each other unless it was related to work. Arthur and White were an odd pairing if you really thought about it. Arthur was classically trained stage actress who believed there was no room for postmodern concepts like breaking the fourth wall, while White had come from television where she had free reign to engage with the audience. Anything White did would drive Arthur crazy, whether it was about what lunch they were having or being overly positive when arriving on set. These two were just complete opposites in every way. Almost all of these stories came from none other than White herself or her co-worker, Rue McClanahan. The two actresses look back fondly in their time with Arthur, who sadly passed away a few years ago. White shared how she personally loved and admired the legendary star, attending her one-woman shows multiple times despite the differences between them. But there's one woman who just kept getting attacked by a legend in the most memed incident of all time: Kanye West versus Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift and Kanye West will forever be linked in pop culture history thanks to the infamous "I'ma let you finish" incident at the 2009 MTV VMAs. The whole world was shocked by West's bold interruption of Taylor's acceptance speech, and even President Barack Obama weighed in, calling it a move.
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
In the days following the event, West did apologize to Swift on more than one occasion and then sent out an apology tweet a year later. As if their controversial relationship wasn't complicated enough, Swift and West had a brief reconciliation in 2015 when Swift gave West the MTV Video Vanguard Award. But it didn't last long. Soon after, Kardashian got involved by leaking a recorded conversation between her husband and Swift about his song Famous. This sparked yet another feud between the two superstar musicians, with Swift later releasing the album Reputation, which was essentially a long-form diss track about the entire ordeal. Nowadays, things are much calmer between Swift and West, but it's safe to say that these two will never be friends again. But you see, friends can be replaced. What do you do when your family gets a little too crazy? Yolanda Hadid versus Zayn Malik. Zayn and Gigi's relationship has been a roller coaster ride for the past few years. After breaking up in 2018, they got back together briefly before welcoming their first child, Kai Malik, in September 2020. But it seems not all was well in ZG paradise, as TMZ recently reported that Zayn had been charged with 4 criminal offenses of harassment. According to documents, the former One Direction singer was involved in a physical altercation at their home in Pennsylvania and called Gigi's mom, Yolanda, a effing Dutch bleep. According to reports, he was charged with assaulting Yolanda Hadid, Gigi's mother, after allegedly shoving her into a dresser and causing mental anguish and physical pain. On top of that, Malik was also charged with harassing a security guard who was present during the altercation, apparently yelling at him to get out of his effing house. After pleading no contest to the charges, Malik was fined and put on probation for a year. He's also mandated to attend an anger management class and domestic violence program, as well as being banned from contacting the security guard or Hadid. You could chalk that one up to being in-law drama, but turns out families can get really ugly too, especially when you drag them to court. Britney Spears versus her family. Despite being an adult, Britney Spears was trapped in a conservatorship controlled by her dad, Jamie Spears, since 2008. For nearly 13 years, he was given the legal right to make decisions on Britney's behalf regarding everything from her finances and health to her business deals and personal life. It seemed like this arrangement would be permanent until September 2021, when the LA Superior Court Judge Brenda Penny ruled to suspend Jamie from the conservatorship. After 2 documentaries on Britney's situation gained traction, public attention to her case intensified and finally resulted in a long-awaited victory for the pop star. Finally, November 2021, the conservatorship was terminated and Spears regained control of her own life. Britney had been fighting for her freedom under her father's conservatorship for over a decade, and earlier this summer, she finally had her day in court. She described how Jamie was forcing her into mental health facilities and making medical decisions against her will, including being prescribed lithium and having an IUD inserted without her consent. But what really broke Britney's heart the most was that her family never stepped in to help her and do something about it. She even went so far to say that she wanted to sue them for conservatorship abuse, claiming that they didn't do a goddamn thing to stop it. And while this seems like a case that's going to get messier and messier with time, but with them, you could say that in a way, they're still an average family. Turns out even royal families aren't immune to drama. The royal family versus Meghan and Harry. In February 2021, Meghan and Harry officially said peace out to their senior royal duties. Meghan said she never intended to quit, but had to for her mental health.
Do this for my family. I've got to do something for my own mental health, for my wife's.
Then they spilled all the tea about their departure in an explosive Oprah interview where Meghan dropped a bomb that it was actually Kate who made her cry before the wedding, not the other way around like the tabloids reported.
And it really hurt my feelings. And I thought in the context of everything else that was going on in those days leading to the wedding.
It was said that the royals' decision to leave the royal family for a more independent life may have been sparked by Queen Elizabeth's choice to keep a portrait featuring Harry, Meghan, and Archie off camera during an interview. By December, rumors had it that there was at least some communication between Harry and his father Charles, though the two were still far from being on good terms. These were some of the most famous feuds in Hollywood history. We'll see you in the next video.
Do this for my family. I've got to do something for my own mental health, for my wife's.